Hi everyone, I am Gnan Solution Architect from HPE APAC A&PS team. And today I'm super excited to talk about modern data protection with HPE and Rubrik. And our key objectives includes internal learning, technical differentiation, and how to convince customers, and finally show and tell demo. Customer challenges. Most of the customers, IT teams spend more valuable time managing the backups jobs for hundreds of applications. This is a common challenge for when we engaging the customer conversations. And another challenge, unstructured data is difficult to index and lifecycle manage. In addition, too many applications go unprotected. And besides, recovery success is uncertain and restore times are too long. So to address this all customer most common challenges, the solution is Rubrik on HPE Proliant servers. So HPE Proliant servers, there are two certified HPE Proliant servers specifically for the Rubrik software, and which is HPE Proliant DL360 and HPE Proliant DL380 models. On top of the any one of the HPE Proliant model, we can run the Rubrik software. Using this Rubrik software, we'll get the modern protection, modern data protection solutions. Apart from the modern data protection, we also have some advanced features, which includes searchable facility, and also the additional capabilities includes policy driven, orchestration enable. This orchestration enable, which help you to do automate our disaster recovery exercises, and also secure accessibility. It will provide a multi-factor authentication capabilities. Okay, and let's talk about the additional concepts. Let's understand the brief overview of Rubrik on HPE Proliant solutions. Here is a high-level overview. This high-level overview says that HP and Rubrik have worked together to validate the deployment of Rubrik Cloud Data Management. In short form, we call it as Rubrik CDM, RCDM software onto the HPE Proliant server platforms. With Rubrik, enterprise built on HPE technology can deliver near zero recovery times, and also it will provide a Rubrik is an HPE virtual OEM partner and providing end-to-end data management for HPE Proliant servers. In addition, users can securely access the data instantly and automate the protection policies like continuous data protection CDP policies, and orchestrate the data across multi-cloud environments. They can orchestrate on your on-premises and also the private cloud, public cloud, hybrid cloud, and which also consider as a multi-cloud environments. Now, let's see the how HP and Rubrik cloud data management is different from traditional backup solutions. So let's try to understand the traditional backup infrastructure first, and then I will talk about a Rubrik and HPE architecture. See, normally in a traditional backup architecture, we have a layered architecture. Let's say in this diagram, I am trying to show you 4 layers: layer 0, layer 1, layer 2, and layer 3. Let's talk about the layer 1 first. Within the layer 1, we consider this as a command and control system layer, or else we can also call it as control plane. Within this layer 1 control plane, I am just highlighting the essential components. This essential infra components includes master servers. That means our backup server, and backup server, it includes the media servers, and also there is a scheduled backup jobs and also a catalog information. This is the layered one. But within this layer 1, the main key challenges are, in case of any one of our backup master server is down, there is an impact to our entire infrastructure. There will be a disturbance for our backup jobs, and also we are unable to complete our scheduled jobs on time. That is the challenge in the layer 1. When it comes to the layer 2, our layer 2 is considered as a data mover. This data mover means all our compute workloads data will be stored on a direct attached storage. Some scenarios it will stored on a NAS storages. Some scenario there will be a dedicated storage, and some cases there will be a secondary storage devices. So I given the all scenarios example. Data mover, it will maintains connected the compute dedicated storage and secondary storage infrastructure. And here also we have a few challenges. If you want to maintain any of the storage infrastructure centrally, then definitely there will be a challenge. And also we cannot scale out the storage infrastructure, and to manage the centralized storage infrastructure also be challenging in data mover layer. Within this data mover layer, even there will be some third party vendors, they come up with a converged storage, hyper converged infrastructure, and they're providing some solution, but still that solutions are applicable only in the layer 2. It's not in a holistic approach. And now let's talk about a layer 3. Layer 3 mainly the agents. Whatever we want to run a traditional backup, all our production workload must be installed with a agents. Even in the layer 3 agents also, there are some challenges. These challenges mainly to manage the agents for all our production workloads. If your workloads are thousands of production workload, to maintain all your thousands of backup agents, and there will be a version compatibility issues, and we have to maintain a consistency version for all the infrastructure, and that is also not a easy management. Our IT team has to spend so much hours to maintain the consistency on all our backup infrastructure. And even if you want to update and upgrade, there will be a challenging task, and we may expect some of the backup failure issues in a layer 3 scenario. Now, to provide a holistic monitoring for the layer 1, layer 2, and layer 3, we need to maintain a layer 0, which is considered as a management plane. Within the management plane, we can configure a monitoring, reporting, and indexing. But if you see the complete overall architecture with the essential components, it's not an easy job to manage the traditional backup architecture. So to overcome this infrastructure and also the backup infrastructure challenges, our HPE and Rubrik jointly implemented a solution. That solution is completely a software defined solution, and the Rubrik software runs on a HPE platform. So that architecture is HPE and Rubrik cloud data management architecture. It's a completely a simplified architecture when compared with a traditional backup architecture. And within this CDM, cloud data management architecture, it's a completely software we can run on a minimally. For a production environment, we should start with a minimally 3 work nodes. 3 servers are needed. This 3 servers is combined with a cluster. Even in case of one node is down, there will be no impact to the production. So when we compare traditional backup architecture, there will be a multiple layers. All the media servers, backup servers, and the separate individual silo components will be completely removed and eliminated within the CDM architecture. And also it's a completely simplified software defined and also the cloud native. And this CDM management you can perform for any of the cloud and also on premises and also the any of the robo offices, and that flexibility we have in this architecture. And in addition, scale out. Even if you in future, if your production workloads are keep growing, if you want to increase your Rubrik and HPE cluster, the scale out is possible without impacting the existing cluster. And HPE and Rubrik is a better together. Okay, so now we'll talk about HP solutions specifically for Rubrik server platforms. And normally, as I mentioned, there is a multiple options. You can run the software directly on a physical server, or you can run on a virtual edition. Normally, virtual edition also minimum requirement is 1, and the recommended best practices we should configure a 3-node virtual instances of Cohesity data platform. Okay, and for physical servers in a Robo means remote office and branch offices. We can configure a single node. And later, if you want to increase, also depends on your workload and infrastructure size, we can increase your multiple nodes. And here recommended model is HPE DL 360. And also when it comes to the small size infrastructure and medium size infrastructure, we should configure with a DL 360 and DL 380. Minimally, we should start with the size is 36 terabyte in small physical cluster. And when it comes to the medium physical cluster, the minimum size it comes with a 144 terabyte raw capacity with 3 nodes. Okay, and
Pause.
in
Sorry,
addition,
Gnan.
yeah,
Sorry. Is this cohesity or Rubrik?
Rubrik.
Virtual addition. I think
Yeah,
you didn't change the word. 1 to 3 nodes virtual instances of Rubrik, and I think you mentioned cohesity also. So can you quickly edit this slide and re-record this page onwards?
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Slide
sorry for the
8.
typo. Yeah, sorry for the typo.
Yeah, it's okay. Just quickly change it now, and I think the logo you need to change it to Rubrik.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Thank
please
you.
start from
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Let's start. So virtual edition is specifically starts with a minimally 1 to 3 nodes, and the minimum recommendation 1, and the best practices start with a 3 node virtual instances. And also the single node for a remote office and branch offices, and we can use a 1U DL360 servers as a edge appliance. And also we can plan to implement the HPE DL360 for the small physical cluster, and also the some of the medium physical clusters. And for infrastructure size is minimally we should start with 144 terabyte raw capacity with 3 nodes. And key principles of modern data protection, and the key principles are air gap, immutability, zero trust. Most of the modern data protection nowadays we are using the key terminologies. Air gap, air gap is nothing but if the no air gap means backups are online, it is accessible from anywhere. Suppose if the air gap is logical, that means backups are offline. Once it is backup, it cannot be accessible from anywhere. And even for the physical servers, it is in the disconnected state. But the rubric is function like a air gap is enabled, logical air gap. That means backups are offline. It cannot be accessible for security reason. It cannot be accessible from anywhere until unless if we have a secure authentication, then only we can access our rubric backups. And immutability, this is also one of the key principle. And generally mutable means can be edited, and immutable means cannot be edited. And rubric, once we backup, all the backups are immutability backups. That means we cannot able to edit the backups. And another key principle is zero trust. Normally in traditional environment, trust but we verify. But when it comes to the rubric architecture, zero trust architecture, that means never trust, always verify. So our HP and rubric is runs within this solution. And I repeat, the key solution is air gap and immutability backups, and also the zero trust architecture. And traditional versus HP rubrics zero trust architecture, there are main key differences. Normally in the traditional architecture, as I mentioned, backup can be accessed and also modified, deleted from the network. But when it comes to the HP rubric zero trust architecture, it is a immutable backup. That means cannot be edited, and backups cannot be modified, and even unable to encrypt it. In general, when the ransomware attack to the any of our production workloads, immediately it will encrypt the data. But if you are using a immutable capable backups, it cannot be encrypted. That means it's protected from ransomware. And anything using standard storage protocol also, there is a vulnerable. And always we have to use no storage online on the network. But during the zero trust architecture, this storage cannot be visible to the external network. And normally in the traditional architecture, there is no air gap, and backups are always online, can be accessible through network. But when it comes to the zero trust architecture, logical air gap, backups are offline, and but it can be accessible only with a multi-factor authentication, or else some scenarios customers may use certificate related authentication, and they can use TLS level authentication. And another key difference is major attack is an unrecoverable event. And but when it comes to the HP and Rubrik's zero trust architecture, major attack is now a recoverable event. Recoverable event with a faster. Okay. And now HPE and Rubrik comprehensive platform support. It's supported for a most of the production workloads within a virtualization. It's supported for a key hypervisor vendors like VMware ESXi hypervisor. It's supported, and Nutanix Acropolis hypervisor. It's supported, and Microsoft Hyper-V is supported. And when it comes to the physical workloads, it will supported for a MySQL, PostgreSQL, network attached storage, Oracle database, SAP HANA, Linux, Microsoft SQL Server, Unix and Linux platforms, and Windows platform. All these physical platforms also, our solution is compatible. And NoSQL environment, it's supported specifically for Cassandra and MongoDB. And similarly to the cloud environments and also the software as a service environment, this solution is supported to take the backup of AWS EC2 virtual instances and also Microsoft Azure VMs, Google Cloud Platform VMs, and also SaaS platforms also we can able to take the backup, which is Office 365, and also the another cloud native vendor is Oracle Cloud. All these instances we can able to take the backup using this solution. And another key concept is ransomware going away? Definitely the answer is no. Still now and then we are receiving some news saying that ransomware affected to some of the customers and they pay ransom. In general, ransomware with the traditional architecture, there is a when the ransomware is attacked and ransomware locks the production data, that is the initial step. And ransom note we will receive. And once we receive the ransom note, we have two solution options. Option one, pay ransom, and option two, attempt to recover. But when we are using a traditional architecture, there will be we have to engage the two parties. One is our engaging the IT operations team, and we have to engage security operations team. Both team work together, and normally IT operations team immediately try to restore the backup data, but by the time during the ransomware attack, all our data is completely encrypted and our production websites are not accessible. But during this scenario, even though when our IT ops team try to restore the data, some scenarios we have to compromise the backups. So the final option will be we should go with a pay ransom in a traditional architecture. And similarly, engaging the security operations team also, they will also perform the forensics test and they will verify the backups are safeguarded or not. And even if they provide some solution to recover, some cases another challenge is how long it will take to recover, and we cannot wait for until the weeks and months. So again, this scenario also we have to pay the ransom. This is the most common challenge when we are using a traditional backup architecture. So that is the reason when we are going for any customer conversations, we recommend the customers to go with a modern data infrastructure using the HP and Rubrik backup solutions. But how HPE Rubrik protect the backup data from ransomware? Now let's talk about the procedure, how HPE and Rubrik will protect. Normally, the initial step is ransomware locks down the production data, and even this data includes not only production workloads, it also includes a secondary storage data. That means our backup. And ransomware note also we received, and normally option one, we can pay ransom, and option two, attempt to recover. But when we are using a zero trust architecture, we can collaboratively work with engaging the IT ops and security ops team, and with this cross team collaboration we can initiate the backups and safeguard it, and the scope attack, and also we can find the actual impacted area, and finally we can discover whatever the data is affected, that sensitive data we can monitor through the our Rubrik console. Using the Rubrik console, Sonar console, we can able to identify what portion of data is affected. That portion we can able to recover fast and then recover the data. So that means we no need to pay the ransoms to the hackers. So even the clearly ransomware giving a guarantee that don't pay the ransom, the Rubrik Zero Trust data management keeps your data safe from ransomware. So we don't have to pay the ransom. Customers are always protected, and even in case worst case scenario, if the ransom is attacked also, recovery can be very fast. and Rubrik on HPE use cases. Now I will try to explain you the use cases one by one. And we have a 20 plus use cases when it comes to the Rubrik on HPE platform. Let's start with the one by one. I will connect to the lab system and I will show you one by one. Okay. When we connect to the our Rubrik console, within the Rubrik console, we can see the Rubrik console. The current login user is admin user. When we expand here, we have a options to configure a two-step verification configuration, SSH configuration, and we can also configure a API token manager. Like we can configure a API tokens for security access. And if you want to do any of the further configuration, there is a gear icon to do all the configuration. All our use cases covered using the application configuration, system configuration, network, access management, and support. Before going to discuss all the thing, first let's verify our Rubrik dashboard. When we click on the Rubrik dashboard, go to the summary, and here we can see our complete holistic approach of our dashboard. We can see last 24 hours, what is the status, if there any progress backup jobs, failed jobs, cancelled jobs, and completed jobs are six are the scheduled jobs. And if there is any current ongoing jobs, we can see from the in progress task dashboard. And also we can see the performance stats, and we can see any of the live mounts like clones are going on or any of the cloud mounts are configured. That status we can find from this widget. And also our Rubrik cluster status is showing us healthy, and also we can see the performance utilization. And vSphere VMs are protected, and also one VM is protected state, and there is a SLA domains are configured. And default SLA domains are silver, bronze, and gold. And I will show you the configuration options for this SLA domains in a while. And also we can see the capacity option, and we can also export this report. This is the high level overview of our Rubrik dashboard summary. And we also have, as I mentioned, compared to traditional architecture, zero data protection architecture, we have a monitoring facility. This monitoring will provide you the complete your backup data backups in progress state file, same like a summary tab. We can also see from the monitoring tab if there is any completed one, cancelled one, all the information we can see. Even when we see the completed one, if the SLA domain is configured, you can see the protected icon. Okay. And also activity status we can see from here, and the name of the virtual machines. Okay. And the schedule information also we can see from the scheduled tab. And there are few VMs are archival also configured. And if the VMs are not protected, you can see the logo of the unprotected icon is, this is the unprotected icon. And this is the protected icon with SLA domain is silver domain. And we also have a compliance tab. This compliance tab also, it will show us which is in compliance and which are all the out of compliance. And this compliance, when we are using hundreds of virtual machine and all the workloads compliance status, we can also export from this tab. We can download the file into the CSV format. And also we can configure CDP. CDP means continuous data production. In order to configure the CDP, we have to install our vSphere API bundle. vSphere API filter has to be installed on our ESXi host. Okay, that is the instructions it's showing it from the screen. Okay. And the databases dashboard, even in the database, if you configure any of the databases, those database information you can find from this dashboard. And the system performance, which is covered from the master dashboard, same way you can see the system performance specifically for our Rubrik cluster. We have a virtual Rubrik cluster, and the name, IP address, all the information you can see. And all the health status is showing as normal. Okay, that is about the Rubrik dashboard. And when it comes to the main use cases, the modern data protection, and we can configure the initial configuration. As I mentioned, it's supported for a VMware vSphere hypervisor. That means the vSphere hypervisor management tool is vCenter server. That is the one use case. When we click on vCenter server, see currently there is a 3 vCenters are connected state. Even if you want to add any of the additional vCenters also, we can just click on the right side plus icon. When we click on plus icon, we can type the any of the remote vCenter IP detail, and we can type either a IP address or fully qualified host name. We need to provide the username and password to add this vCenter to the Rubrik console. And even when we click on advanced settings, even if there is any specific security certificate, those root certificates we need to attach here and then click on add. This is the procedure to add your vCenters here. But in our demo lab, we already added a 3 vCenter servers. One is management vCenter, one workload vCenter, and also availability zone 3 vCenter also added. 3 vCenters are connected state. And the last refresh is showing us today's state. Okay. And another use case, we have another option we can configure. When we click on gear icon, we can see VCD instances. VCD means VMware Cloud Director. This using VMware Cloud Director also, if there are any vCloud Director instances, when we add the vCloud account here, all your vCloud provisioned automated workloads also we can able to take the backup. And in addition, this vCloud Director will provide a self-service request also. When the customer submit a self-service request using vCloud Director, it will automatically add those workloads to the our scheduled backup jobs. That is the importance of vCloud Director. And also a SCVMM. SCVMM means System Center Virtual Machine Manager, which is mainly for a Microsoft Hyper-V management tool. Even SCVMM servers also we can add. Same like how we added a VMware vCenter server. Similar method, when we click on add SCVMM, we have to provide the SCVM management server IP address or fully qualified host name, and we can add it to the Rubrik backup service. Okay. And another use case is, again, when you click on a gear icon, and we can see the another capability is Nutanix clusters. Even for Nutanix clusters also, if we want to add a Nutanix cluster, we have to choose a Prism Central. This Prism Central is similar to like a Microsoft SCVMM. When you add a Prism Central IP address, we can able to take the backup of all your Acropolis hypervisor virtual machines. And another use case is host. This host tab refers as a, you can take the backup of any of your existing Unix and Linux physical servers, and you can also take the backup of your physical Windows host. But only condition is, if you want to take the backup of Unix and Linux host, our Rubrik is recommended to install a backup agent software. That backup agent software and the supported platform information we can see from this widget. And also all the supported flavors we can see. Only based on the supported flavor versions only we can add it here. And similarly, it's applicable for Windows hosts as well. And even if you have any Azure Stack HCI host, those Azure Stack HCI hosts also we can add it here. Okay. And let's talk about another use case, guest OS settings. Even guest OS settings, suppose if you want to configure your guest OS credential, we can, when we click on plus icon here, and we can add your domain credentials or any of the specific service account credentials, you can add it here. Okay. And another scenario is even Rubrik backup service settings. You can configure the backup service settings. Either you can choose manual or you can choose the backup service setting as automatic. And normally we can, based on our customer recommendation, we can choose the relevant options. Okay. And another use case, when we click on the system configuration, under system configuration, there are additional Rubrik capabilities. Suppose if I select a replication target, in general, the replication target can be our disaster recovery site. If we have disaster recovery site, the specific replication target, we can add it here. You can access your replication site, which is a remote cluster. You can add it either a private network or you can add it as a network address translation network series. You can add your NAT IP information here, and you can add your remote cluster. In general, if you have a site A and site B, site A is our on-premises and site B is considered as a remote cluster. Those remote cluster you can access from any of the network type. Okay, that is the importance of replication option. And again, click on gear icon. let's talk about another use case is archival locations. When we click on archival location, most of the time for our past data, last 3 months data or last 1 month data, more than 6 months data, more than 6 years or more than 1 year, based on the customer policies, like backup policies, we have to maintain the some archival data. To maintain your archival data, we can add our store our data into the any of the cloud, or we can maintain archival in a on premises, or we have a capable to store in a secondary storage devices. Suppose in this dashboard you can see there are two archivers are configured. One is a local NFS, which is network file system, configured to a on premises archival, and also there is a cloud archival also configured. Maybe the currently it is showing disconnected state, but it has a capability to configure AWS S3 compatible. S3 means simple storage service archival location. And if you want to add any of the additional archival locations, just click on the plus icon. We can add the respective archival locations. For example, archival type, if you expand this option, you can see our Amazon S3. When you select the S3, we need to choose the respective region, in which region we have a access. We can choose the respective region location, and also we have to provide the specific storage class, whether the storage class is standard or infrequent access. Based on the customer recommendation, we can choose the setting, and also the AWS access key, secret key. This information normally we can get it from a AWS principal vendor. Once we enter all these details, and we can able to add the archival location. Okay. And similarly, we can also manage to upload our production data to any of the other cloud vendors, that is involves like a Azure also we can able to prepare even archival. And similarly, we can able to do a Google Cloud Platform and NFS we already configured for a on premises, and even the object store. Suppose when we select a object store option, see object store is compatible for S3 compatible, and we can use one common vendor, most common used vendor is Cloudian. And apart from the object store vendor, there is a other vendors also providing this capability, and we can able to integrate the Rubrik with other vendor, which is a Skeleti. Even we can use Skeleti for a object store archival location. Okay. And another one is when we go to the archive location, we can also use our traditional method, which is the tape. Even the tapes also we can use, and we can provide a tape library information, the specific tape library host name and authentication details to maintain the archival location to the our traditional tapes. But nowadays modern data production, most of the time customer is choosing a either public cloud, or they are going for a object store. Okay, this is the options customers are most of the time using the our modern data production environments. And again, click on the gear icon, we'll talk about a another use case. And the storage arrays, even if you want to configure storage arrays, we can configure the storage array. And another one, adaptive backup. This adaptive backup, normally when we are planning to do any of the internal maintenance on your production workload, during the maintenance time we have to hold the backup, or we have to skip the some backup. During the time we have to use this option. When we click on enable adaptive backup, it will allows you to reschedule our backup window. Suppose our current backup window is after office hours 6 p.m. or 8 p.m. it's starting. If you want to reschedule it to the midnight, we can able to change the existing backup schedule using the adaptive backup. Okay, this is also one common use case. And another option is, let's talk about a pause protection. This pause protection is nothing but a normally if you want to during the hardware maintenance or any of the upgrade maintenance time, or if your application owners recommending to do some maintenance on the guest OS level, during that time if you want to pause your backup, we can choose this option. Okay. And another use case are iSCSI sources we can add, and we can also maintain the certificate management, and we can also use the cluster settings and SMB security, manage encryption. These are all the possible use cases. And comes to the network configuration, we can configure the proxy setting, network setting, all this information, and also notification settings also. Even once your backup is completed, if you want to send a email notification to our customer and all our IT operation team and SecOps teams, those respective teams, we can configure one email server setting here, so that as long as your backup schedule is completed, it will send you notifications frequently. And we can also monitor using SNMP service, simple network management protocol, and we can also maintain all your backup activity logs, and you can send it to the syslog server. If you have any existing syslog server in on premises or any of the remote syslog server, you can add the syslog server rule here. And all the activity logs, even if you see the icon here, globe icon, when you click on this globe icon, you can see all your production activity log information. When you click on see all, you can see all these logs. So there are some information log, warning logs, and error logs. All these logs, if you want to save, you can save it to the CSV file. And similarly, if you want to send all this log to the syslog server, go to the notification settings and select the syslog. Here you can configure your syslog export rule here. Okay. And notification, even currently there is a default notification setting information. If you want to add any another new certification, just click on plus icon and configure your notification information for each layer of events. Okay, this is also one most common use case. And in addition, there is a access management. We can configure the users. Currently, as this is a demo environment, so we are using a administrator user. But in the production environment, based on the organization active directory, we can configure the who are the backup administrators and also the application owners you want to provide the access. Those access we can provide using this users tab. And also there is another access management option is organizations. When we use the organization, it is also similar to a in our Windows Active Directory, we have a multiple organization units. Even if you have a our rubric is running on a multiple environments and also the multiple sites globally, to maintain all your centralized access management, you can create a organizations, same like Windows organization OUs, organization units. Okay, this is also one use case. And the support bundle, in general, support bundle we can use to extract the support bundle in case of any of the uh, backup console, rubric console level issues. We can export the bundle and send it to the support team. And we can also configure, as I mentioned, we can configure rubric CDM. The CDM means it's a continuous data management. This data current version we are using as a 6.0.2. This is the current version. And now when we see the left side, we can see SLA domains. This SLA domains is about the main actual our storage policy management. And the default policies are comes with bronze, gold, and also silver. There are some additional policies are configured. Okay. And remote domains, if you have any remote data centers, you can configure remote domain policies as well. And virtual machine, just now we verified we have a vSphere VMs and Cloud Director VM. Cloud Director we haven't configured yet, and Hyper-V configured, and AHV also configured. All your production workload. This production workload, we can see which location, that means the specific cluster information, which are all the workloads are protected, which are all not protected. Okay. And the depends on the customer criticality, we can protect all your workloads using a SLA domain. And this SLA domain, it's not only limited to bronze, gold, and silver. We have a facility to create a custom SLA domains as well. When you click on custom SLA domain, and here we can see the option for CDP protection. Just enable CDP protection, and this CDP protection, we can set a recovery points for every 20 hours, and it can be customizable. And we can also prepare a snapshot window for every 1 hour, or for critical workloads we can maintain a some very frequent snapshots also we can maintain using a continuous data protection. Okay. And now servers and apps, even application layer protection we can possible to prepare, but these all a physical workloads we need to install with a specific agent service. And for the NAS storages, currently we do not have any existing NFS shares. And if you have any NFS shares using the server and apps tab, NFS shares we can add it. And any managed volumes also we can add it. And all our existing snapshot management we can monitor from a snapshot management tab. And if you have any clones, if you want to configure the clones, we can configure from live mounts. This live mount clone is useful mainly when we are planning to do any upgrades or testing in a production workload. Prepare one safety copy. On that clone copy we can do whatever the test we want. Okay, and the cloud mounts is nothing but we can do a public cloud mounts. Current capabilities are AWS and Azure. Okay, and this is a system tab. This tab is refers about our Rubrik cluster complete information, which is same as a dashboard information. And also the additional capability of Rubrik is we have a reports we can export, and we know like a traditional architecture we have to use a separate server, but here within a one single console we can able to manage all our backup workload report summary. We can see it from here, and in addition we also have some predefined reports are available specifically for SLA compliance. When we are managing a larger workloads, that time these reports are very useful, and even during the auditing purpose also we can use all these backup reports. Okay, now let's back to the slide. So whatever we discussed the use cases, these are mainly covered all these items. Let's say the first one is the key item here is simplified data backup and recovery. And we no need to maintain a additional backup and media servers, monitoring, dashboard indexing server. All is simplified within a one single management console, one single user interface. And VMware vSphere VMs also we can able to backup, we can replicate, and we can also use it for a disaster recovery. Disaster recovery means, as I shown, replication site, that is a DR site. And similarly for VMware vCloud Director also we can use, and not only VMs, we can also configure it for vApps. vApps is nothing but a grouping of multiple virtual machines, and all application services we can manage through vApps. This vApps backup also we can take using a modern data protection, using a Rubrik console. And also similarly to Hyper-V VMs, AHV VMs, and our physical host, Windows host and apps. But here one thumb of rule is, for all the virtualization, we no need to install any agent free backup. And for the physical environment only, we require agents. And Oracle DB backup, and also managed volume. And it will also support it for a Kubernetes data protection. It's not only native Kubernetes, and it will also support for a one of the key use cases is official Rubrik documentation. It says it's officially certified for VMware Tanzu Kubernetes integration, and also the Red Hat OpenShift Kubernetes integration. And in addition, we can also configure continuous data production. The purpose of continuous data production is, but normal regular daily backup, it will take the backup a daily basis. But when you configure a continuous data production, the recovery is very nearer recovery. That is the benefit of continuous data production. That the data loss will be very minimal. Suppose the traditional backup, even when you restore, if in the event of virtual machine failure, if you restore from the backup can be restored only the yesterday's night backup. From the yesterday night to until the event occur, there will be some data loss. But when you configure a continuous data protection, the data loss will be very minimal only. This data protection policy we can configure for either it in every 15 minutes or every 30 minutes, depends on the customer's requirement. That is a key use case for our modern workloads. And Rubrik accelerate the GDPR. It's a general data protection policy compliance. It's also, it will follow all these policies. And also orchestrated the app recovery. We have a completely API token based inventory. We can configure REST API for the Rubrik, and we can use either vRealize automation or vCloud Director. We can automate all our disaster recovery exercise. Okay, and it will accelerate the ransomware recovery. For ransomware, as I mentioned, our Rubrik zero trust architecture mainly providing a immutable backup, and also it will provide a multi-factor authentication, and there is a air gap. With these features, we quickly recover the ransomware, and also the impact of ransomware is the curve will be minimized. And Rubrik Cloud Vault also one of the additional feature. It is mainly to isolate the backup from the production workloads, and also holistic cloud native protection. And we can archive your data to, as I shown you, the archive can be configured to Azure. We can configure to AWS S3, Google Cloud, and we can also use Cloudian Object Store. These all the options we can verify using a Rubrik console gear icon. Okay, this is the main use cases. And Additional use cases are archive to the Scality and online Rubrik cluster upgrade. Even the, as I mentioned, the minimum is one node and the recommendation is 3 nodes. Suppose when we plan to upgrade our Rubrik cluster, we can upgrade in a sequential manner. When we are doing a one node upgrade, there will be no impact to your existing production. Okay, and object storage is S3 is compatible. Simple storage simple is compatible, and not only limited to this on 27 use cases, there are some additional use cases and so on. Okay, so with interest of our time, I'm just covering until the 27 use cases. Now let's talk about, there is so much to talk about HPE GreenLake. And HPE GreenLake edge to cloud platform and edges collocation data centers and also the clouds. And normally HPE GreenLake edge to cloud platform is providing a self-service portal, and it is mainly for a pay-per-use model, and any of the workloads we can do scale up and scale down anytime and also managed for you. And the cloud that comes to you, basically it's a cloud is as not a journey, it's a experience. And redefined experiences with HPE GreenLake Central. And within the HPE GreenLake Central, we can able to manage all our production workloads and using a self-service portal. And within a click, all the requests we can configure, and also we can provide a capacity ready ahead of demand, and also cost controls to optimize spend and across clouds, and continuous compliance for over a 1500 controllers, and also simple and fast for the developers to spin up the resources whenever is necessary, and also faster insights for data science teams and with choice of tools. That is the main importance of HPE GreenLake Central. And the key takeaway here is Rubrik is an HPE virtual OEM partner and providing end-to-end data management for HPE ProLiant servers. And customer can automate protection policies like silver, bronze, any of SLA domain policies, and orchestrate data across multi-cloud environment, and automation of disaster recovery verification and documentation. And in addition, single management point for modern data protection of all workloads. Okay. So, and it's a one-stop shop and a single HPE purchase order. That's it for today. Thank you. Thanks for your time.